How's it going, everyone? Just saw Stranger Things. We went to the theater, went with a bunch of my friends. Surprisingly, it was packed. Went to a 10 a.m. showing. The audience is pretty good. They clapped a bunch and they seemed pretty happy with it. I'm just going to start off by saying I thought the finale was okay. I think season 5 is definitely the weakest season of all of them. It felt rushed and it's got some other issues with like pacing, and I'll jump into that. But if you don't want to hear spoilers, which I'll be jumping into here soon, I thought it was okay, but it could have been great, and it's disappointing at the end of the day, let's be honest. What makes it disappointing to me is I think Stranger Things has had a problem with too many characters. It's hard to focus on like a core group, and there's just so many pieces, and they were also afraid to kill anyone. Everyone seemed to have plot armor at this point. Earlier seasons, they had no problem killing character stuff. I mean, even last season with Eddie, hated to see Eddie go, but it was an awesome way out for that character. They definitely had some opportunities to do that in this season, and they chose not to for some reason. It makes the stakes seem much lower than they should be. It also made Vecna and the Mind Flayer much less scary. I think there could have been some good character arcs that would have ended with like a sacrifice or something that they didn't do. Like maybe they could have had Jonathan sacrifice himself to save Steve. That would have been a really cool moment and an arc for his character. And I think people would have been okay with that. And some of the character, their endings were more well established. Like Steve's made sense. He was an athlete. He was popular. Now he's a coach for a bunch of kids. I think that's great. Some characters like Murray, they don't say what he does or where he goes off to. I don't think. I may have missed it. I did just see it a little while ago, but I don't remember them saying anything about him. The ending also dragged on for way too long. They defeat Vecna, and then there's an hour of epilogue after that. And I think they might leave the door open for spin-offs or something. The younger kids come in to play D&D and they hold a shot on the door, brings you back to the first season. I don't think their endings hit as hard as they could have, especially since everyone had this plot armor. Made Vecna seem a lot weaker than he should have. Bringing the Mind Flayer back should have been a bigger thing. It looked pretty cool, but that's another problem with this season too. It's very dark, and that's probably to hide all the CG. There's so much CG. This whole thing feels very rushed. And I think there's a lot of issues with the pacing and writing because of it feels like they just kind of threw it together. I think they've always known what they want to do, like the beginning and end, but I really don't think they knew how to end it. I think they could have done way cooler things with Vecna. The final battle with Vecna is very underwhelming. They all work together and they beat him. He doesn't seem as scary as he did in previous seasons or moments. A decent fight against Elle, but it doesn't really go too long, and she gets help from Will. There should have been more of a pushback, with Vecna being a part of the Mind Flayer. I thought that was a cool reveal. They did a couple cool things like that. Would have been cool if Vecna separated everybody. The original Dragon Age does this, where you fight this nightmare demon and you all have to like face your nightmares. Like how Hopper kept seeing his young daughter and thought he killed Elle. I thought that was a really cool, really awesome moment, and I really wish maybe have them all face their fears like that. They kind of just don't. There's like 3 battles going on, and it feels like everything's so convenient in this season. It's just everything they need's right there. Things happen the way they need to happen, and you gotta suspend your disbelief for a lot of things in this. I think the season just asked way too much in that department. Many of the scenes they just borrowed from other movies. I know this is heavily 80s inspired, but they did the scene right out of Jurassic Park pretty much with the raptors, but instead of the raptors it's the Demogorgons. The Upside Down's being torn apart, and Elle creates a shield, kind of like they did in Mass Effect. Kids being trapped was a lot like Alien. Nancy was a lot like Ripley in this one, it felt like. I could go on. Got to a point where it just felt like a bunch of popular sci-fi fantasy stuff just thrown together and to make this finale that I wish could have stood on its own. I really wish they followed the path of having Vecna be manipulative like he was throughout the rest of the series and really, really scare them and, maybe make us think we see someone die, but that's just a Vecna trick. There was none of that. So I feel like is predictable, pretty straightforward, and it's fine. It's just not great, and it could have been great. First seasons, I think, are really, really good. Season 5, unfortunately, is the weakest, but overall, it's a great series. I'll probably cover the whole thing. Love to hear what you guys think below. I gotta definitely rewatch some of the older seasons and think more about this, but figured I'd give my quick thoughts after seeing it a little while ago. Let me know what you thought of Stranger Things below, and what would you have liked to see that was different. I'll catch you on the next one. Got more Godzilla-thon coming, and still gonna do those Resident Evil movies. I'll see you soon. Thor out.